What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So it's time for a new part in the Uncharted The Lost Legacy countdown, and today I wanted to talk with you a bit about the gameplay in The Lost Legacy. Now, what I find so interesting about the gameplay in The Lost Legacy is the fact that there's not a whole lot to talk about, and it's simply just not, it's not the reason why you're gonna wanna be playing this. And a big issue with that is the fact that this was, of course, traditionally going to be Uncharted 4 DLC. That means it's built on the exact same engine with the exact same systems, and from all of the gameplay that we've seen so far, gameplay-wise, it does really look like more of the same, right? And why is that? Because even though Chloe has new animations, it still seems very much like you're controlling Nathan Drake in the way she moves. The combat system is, of course, the same with the way the shooting the guns works and everything like that. The graphics are the same, although the environments are different, of course. Chloe has a grappling hook too, just like Nathan Drake got introduced in Uncharted 4. There is Jeep sections where you're driving around in a vehicle and stuff. You even, at some point during one of the demos, without spoiling too much, you saw a certain truck chasing you. That is literally Chapter 11 in Uncharted 4 all over again, right? And so you can see that they just took everything that they had done with Uncharted 4, they took those assets and those ideas, and they carried them forward into The Lost Legacy. It later became its own kind of thing that was going to be much bigger than they planned before. And so You've just got the issue that calling this a new Uncharted game, which Naughty Dog is doing right now, which I don't know if it's the right move to make, the right call to do, because really, this is gameplay-wise a very similar game. Also, of course, with the same multiplayer included. So the only thing that's really new is the story and the adventure in itself. But as far as systems go, you saw with Uncharted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 that they constantly kept expanding on each other and introducing a lot of new stuff, and The Lost Legacy simply just doesn't really have that, right? Nonetheless, there are some new things that they added, so let's talk about that. First thing, silenced pistols, for example. We saw that in certain encounters, Chloe found a silenced pistol. Some people reminded me that they were already in Uncharted 3, and that's true, but I think in Uncharted 3, they were kind of underutilized. Really, they were just in a few encounters of that game, and more for the reason of being a gimmick and being there because it suited the situation, but not really for the fact that, you could actually use them to skip certain fights. You didn't really have that at all in Uncharted 3. In Uncharted 4 now, it really looks like you can use your silenced pistol to skip certain fights, meaning that you we'll be able to get through it much quicker. It's your own choice, your own decision really to approach it that way, or to just go all out guns blazing, right? And I think for for Uncharted fans, people that are really good at the game already, this is now going to be an extra opportunity to get through certain fights quicker without making it too much of a hassle. I think that's awesome. I really like the silenced pistol idea. There's also some lockpicking stuff in there. We saw that already in the beginning with the PSX demo. We saw Chloe do that. It turns out now that in certain encounters again, you're gonna see these loot boxes from the enemy army, of course, that you can actually lockpick, and while you're doing that, you can still get spotted, of course. So that's kind of the risk versus reward thing going on there. And then if you actually manage to open them, you will get certain weapons from it, like power weapons, or even what they've now said is there's going to be certain loot, some extra, kind of secret collectibles that will give you certain skill attributes. But Naughty Dog is kind of refusing at the moment to say what that exactly is, but it does seem that by actually using this lockpicking ability, you're gonna be able to make yourself a stronger character, or to give yourself something extra. I really have no idea what that's gonna turn out to be, because with Uncharted we're always used to it being, this thing where in the beginning of the game you're pretty much doing the same stuff as in the end of the game, and you don't really upgrade your character, right? It never really worked that way, so I'm very interested to see, what that's all gonna be like. We also know, of course, there's going to be a bit more of the open levels carried forward that we saw in Uncharted 4. Also the biggest level yet, which we saw, kind of like a 10-minute teaser of course, in the previous gameplay demo that we've all seen. Don't want to spoil too much for the people who refuse to watch it, I guess. But there's simply going to be even more freedom there. We saw that you can really decide for yourself to go to, I think it was one of the 3 objective points, and do those in the order that you want to do. In Uncharted 4, you had those open environments, but it was still linear in a way, right? You were still going from outpost to outpost, and so it felt more open, but in reality it still was quite linear. In The Lost Legacy now, there's going to be at least some chapters that will have these open environments with choices for you to make as far as in what order you want to tackle those things. Now, I'm personally not the biggest fan of that. I've already said that plenty of times. I think that Uncharted is at its best when it's being linear and when it's, you know, getting you to these awesome set pieces and story moments and everything. And the open stuff to me is just not necessarily that interesting, but it's still cool to see, and no doubt that it's going to be fun. You know, I still enjoyed myself thoroughly with the open parts in Uncharted 4 as well. It's just that, yeah, the linear parts to me are the ones that really stand out, but that's just, you know, my personal taste. We know that some guns, for example, have carried over from the multiplayer, and now instead of using the AK maybe or the traditional Uncharted weapons that you're used to, you're going to be using these weapons that were already introduced in the multiplayer of Uncharted 4, of course. Yeah, pretty much in the parts post-launch, right? So we saw what was it, the Insus being revealed, right, or the AUG weapon or whatever it's called. I forgot the name for it, but it's like an AUG, right? The P90 and stuff. These weapons are all going to carry forward to the Lost Legacy, and you're going to be able to use them, meaning that single player wise, the weapons are going to be feeling a bit more fresh because they're going to be different, right? And then the last thing we know is, for example, that Chloe can also take pictures, and apparently those can be used to kind of like review later and find new clues in them. I really wonder what that's all going to play out like. All this stuff, you know, the lockpicking, the loot, the taking photos and everything, it kind of reminds me of what Golden Abyss tried to do. It really tried to add a bit more of these traditional adventure elements to it and give you more freedom, more things to do rather than just the normal shooting and platforming sections that you're pretty much used to in Uncharted, right? You know, it all sounds pretty cool, but I think we can all kind of like, you know, it's safe to say we can all agree, hopefully, that this is not going to be something mind-blowing. This is not the reason why you're going to be playing The Lost Legacy for these new gameplay elements. This is simply what they decided to add to spice things up a bit more and to make it all feel a bit fresh, but ultimately The Lost Legacy will be played for its story, right? That's what we're going to enjoy about it, see where the characters are going to end up at and what exactly is going to happen, yeah, in the adventure of the game. But yeah, that's pretty much all that we know gameplay wise that they're going to do with it. So with that being said, I would like to know your thoughts about it, of course, in the comments of the video, and make sure, of course, to help support me on Patreon, because you get some really cool rewards. Not only do you help me with making these videos, but you also get a week early access to every single Uncharted The Lost Legacy countdown part, like all the people next to me in the credits, who I want to thank for, yeah, supporting me. It really means a lot to me, of course. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode in the Uncharted The Lost Legacy countdown. We're getting very close actually to the launch of the game, of course, so that's going to be really cool to see. And then for now, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.